of the community itself has been vocal. What to you is the biggest issue that you're feeling right now before we get our first title update?
So before I get into the specific about what's wrong, the problem is what's right. The game is actually in a direction, both MUT and franchise and superstar, that it's so close. It's close to being good, in my opinion. I even think the gameplay in general is going the right direction. The problem is when it releases with so many bugs and so many issues. And the biggest issue right now that I think, as a gameplay guy, is that defense is impossible. And this is not versus CPU defense only. This is not head to head only. This is defense in general.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Madden Championship Series. The very first one was regs. Now they're doing ladders over the weekends. And unfortunately, you're looking at games, 5-minute quarter games that are sitting at 55, 52. And that's pretty much all of them. Unless somebody quits, it's a guaranteed 40-point each side game. Zone coverage is in a very, very bad place right now. You're either a traffic cone or you're in match coverage, which has admittedly a lot of rules to it, to where 95% of Madden players don't even understand the rules to match coverage. But match coverage is so ingrained into the current NFL as a way to stop, bunch and other things like that. When it doesn't work, the people that are using it, as a realistic football simulation, I hate using realistic football simulation, but that's what it is. Using it as a weapon, when those things don't work, it turns into huge touchdowns and huge gains and frustration, because there are very defined rules for match coverage. And when those rules are broken because of a programming error or because of some kind of bug, that's frustration. There's nothing more frustrating for me than losing the chess game in Madden. And right now there's no chess game. It's send all your tanks in a blitz and pray they don't throw over your head.
Yeah, I had a game, what was it, a couple nights ago. I was playing a friend of mine, and he scored a touchdown with about 13, 14 seconds left. I'm like, you're not worried, because I found myself knowing what he's going to pick, and I can just do a post route right down the seam, and it's golden. Like a
It's
post
going
route,
every time.
every
Yeah,
time it
like
gets me in a field goal range, and I make a chip shot field goal. Like,
essentially the meta, the online meta now is run a cover 4, make sure all 4 guys are back, and just hope that your opponent throws at your user. Like that's the only thing you can do right now. And a lot of people in MUD are hoping abilities fix that. I don't want to rely on abilities. I'm an offline player. I'm a franchise player where abilities are nice. I mean, I think abilities are pretty much balanced with the exception of, pass velocity abilities. But like the game is in a state right now where it's not fun. And to put that where I am, I took an entire week off of my day job to stream Madden launch. I streamed one day and then went right back to college football. And that's not saying college football doesn't have its own issues, but it is a much more fun game. And there is the chess match is very much available in college football, whereas in Madden there's no brain work going back and forth in Madden now.
so you'd say college football does have defense. College football doesn't have
I
defense.
do think, yeah, I think college football has defense, and I think the big thing is, when it comes to that, is the movement in college football masks a lot of the same issues. Right now, if you're a traffic cone in college football, you can click on and make that guy move on your own pretty quickly. The problem is if you click on a Madden, it takes a second because they have that realistic foot planting. They have the boom technology to make realistic movement. And I don't think the movement is the issue. I think the way the movement works with the problems in the game is the issue. I know a lot of players don't like the feeling, the stuck in the mud feeling, but I think realistically, I think it works realistically. The problem is that they updated the movement, but then never updated everything else to kind of fit the movement wasn't going to work with the zone issues they already had in the game.
And I do think, like, a lot of people, and you can, if you think differently, like, there is so much good. Like, personally, I feel like running the ball, it just feels nice to me. Like,
Yeah,
I've
for
enjoyed
sure.
running the ball. I feel like offensive line play, for the most part, is better than it has been the last few years. I feel just but it's the way it's pass defense. There is, like you said, there is none, and that takes away knowing no matter what you seem to do, unless you manage to blow up the line on a play, everything, whether it's 5 yards downfield, 10 or 20 plus, it's going to hit. And it seems to be turning, like you said, even a lot of people back to college or just away. And do you
I
think?
mean, I haven't played Madden on stream and Madden is one of my main games now. College being new this year, but I played 1 or 2 days of Madden, and I've played college straight through. So and I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people, banging their head against the wall playing Madden, but there are a lot of people that just said, "Screw it, I'm just going to play college."
What do you think before we get to college? What do you think has been? I don't want to say a problem, but it feels like communication from the Madden team has been different than the communication from the college. College immediately, it seemed like almost every other day there was some sort of communication about what's being worked on, what they know. It feels like the Madden side of things has been quieter. Would you agree with that, or maybe am I missing something?
I think it's quieter in general from Madden. I think the biggest thing is, remember, there's a 30-day patch. 30-day, I say 30-day. The big first title update for college football hit, and they did the same thing. They had a tweet with gridiron notes of saying, "Hey, these are all the launch issues we're looking at." Well, Madden did the same thing. I think during that month, while we were waiting for the first patch of college football, we felt the same way. We were like, okay, well, when's it coming? Like, what
Yeah.
day is it? Like, I feel like there was that anticipation because the first title update after a launch is like, I hate this, but is like the real release date for some people
Yeah.
because it's always about 3 to 4 weeks afterwards. I think we're anticipating the title update for Madden to probably be before kickoff, the week before the Ravens Chiefs kickoff game. That's normally when it is. But it was 30 days from college football launch. It's going to be 3 to 4 weeks from Madden launch, and it's always the big first gameplay fix. Um, we're just in a world now where we have to wait for the first big gameplay update to really see what the game's potential is. And I don't even think if they're a one patch away. I think they're probably 2 to 3 title updates away from really fixing all the issues.
Do you think when they see, and this kind of jumps what I want to talk about, but I'm thinking of the competition between the team at college football and the team at Madden. No matter what people try and say, they are two distinctly different games
Mm-hmm.
with everything from gameplay feature. We're getting shared things, but do you think the team maybe at Madden sees what college did to fix some issues and maybe putting extra pressure that they're not used to, or do you see it as not really that big of a deal?
Well, I definitely think there's competition between the two teams. I don't think it's a like competitive cutthroat competition. I think it's a friendly competition between the two teams. That being said, there is a lot of pride in that office in Tiburon. There is a ton of pride, and nobody likes to be second. No one likes to be second when you're making games like that. There is a lot of, hey, I don't want college to beat me out on this stuff. We found out in one of the title updates upcoming, revamped passing, which we didn't think was going to be in Madden, is now coming into Madden. I mean, I have to feel like that was a post-launch call that was made because of the feedback
Yeah.
to revamped passing. Especially, I've noticed that offline players tend to like revamped a lot more than online players do. And I think that's a huge part of the feedback is that so many people loved what revamped did, loved the control it offered while still giving, that feeling of being able to toss a ball, 100 feet in the air and back down 5 yards. It was different. I do think that the Madden team is looking at some of the things college did, but again, they also have to keep separate of their movement is incredibly different than college's is.
100%.
College's is more, quote unquote, arcadey. It's about 20 to 25% faster. So you can't mask some of the issues that college is doing with what Madden is. You actually, my assumption is they're going to go looking through all the zone coverage and click a little higher for like zone reaction and stuff because in college it's so much quicker.
With college football, it's been out for over a month now. It's the best selling game of July, the best
Mhm.
selling game of the year. Like it's moved consoles. It's the first true game I can honestly say that moved consoles this generation.
The
Do
Xbox
you,
Series S was sold out like
yep.
everywhere.
Do you
Like the X, not the X, the S was sold out everywhere, which is the, you know, the budget console. I was
yeah.
crazy to me that those were sold out.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's made Microsoft happy because they're finally moving a console they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think this is a flash in the pan, or do you think they truly have something that can stay with college football? Especially knowing we know they haven't confirmed it, but we kind of have that feeling it's going to be a yearly release now.
Yeah, I'm almost sure it's going to be a yearly release. And what I will say is, I think they know they have something. They absolutely have something. They had something when NCAA 14 was out. They're I think it's going to be huge. What I will say is, I don't think they have the post launch moneymaker they do in Madden. I think that college will always be dynasty heavy.
Yep.
Whereas Madden, while franchise is still the most played mode behind Superstar, is still more played than MUT. I think MUT is Madden Ultimate Team is much more ingrained in the culture. College Ultimate Team, even now, is even kind of looked at as like, no, don't play that. That's dirty. Like play a Dynasty. I know a bunch of creators that have switched over to Dynasty playing college because College Ultimate Team, which is set up very similar to how it is in Madden. You know, it's a very similar concept, but I think Madden has that trained activity of MUT now, whereas college, they'll upgrade cut, but I think it will always be a dynasty heavy mode or game.
What's your hope for the future of these franchises? We can start with the Madden, and we can look short term, long term. What do you hope to finally see? Because it seems like obviously you're tired of hearing it, you're tired of seeing it in your chat. I'm there. I see it. People just constantly bashing it. Tired of the step in a right direction type of games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we just continue that trend and no one will be happy, or do you have a feeling we might be getting to where they're gonna make a jump to make fans happy?
I think social media wise, and I hate to separate this like this, I think social media wise, we're never gonna see happy Madden audience. I don't. I think we find reasons to bash it no matter what. But my hope is at some point Madden will be looked at with the NFL from a more mainstream like eye as NBA 2K is from a mainstream eye. And let me be very clear about why. NBA 2K right now in its social bubble is also very much hated because of their microtransaction and some of those things that they've done with my team and my career. But overall, 2K is culture. 2K is a mainstream culture with the NBA. Like it is, all the players play it, all of it's cool.
I mean, there's a reason they redid the 2K League. They completely overhauled it to make it that way.
Because they don't want, unfortunately, it doesn't work with, you know, like the Overwatch League does. Yeah. They need people like players or celebrities or things like that. They tried to sell those players as being celebrities. They're not. That's why they're retooling now. I agree. I really want to see Madden kind of be that on that level. And I think they're close, but also there are still so many, you know, people against Madden. There's still so many of the, you know, even celebrity wise of the bring back 2K or where's the competition, that kind of stuff. I still think that has to be separated. I really don't know that we ever make that step until we get a competitor to Madden and people realize, wait, it's not competition. It's just the way sports games are.
Yeah. Do you think we ever get that? We talk about it all the time. Do you think we actually ever get that competition? We all know the agreement's coming up. They're talking about it. They're always negotiating. But
yeah,
how much money the NFL makes, they both make, it's hard to assume they don't extend it.
I don't think that. I think the NFL is, as much as the NFL is a powerhouse, I don't think the NFL has any worry about it right now because they get so much money. And people say, well, competition will bring in more money. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because if there's competition, you're splitting an audience. Now all of a sudden you're splitting the dollars up. The only thing they'll get out of it is the licensing fee that costs so much.
Yeah.
I think it's north of, I don't know the exact number. I think it's north of 70% of profits go back to the NFL for the license.
Yeah, I think
from,
it was from the 1.5 bill. I think it was like 1 or 1.1 that went back. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a very large number that I don't think people understand. So if we were to get competition, and we all know where it would have to come from, unfortunately, 2K's got to be ready to pony that up. And right now, I don't know that 2K is ready to. I don't think their mobile game was very well taken on at all. No. Unfortunately, I like Madden Mobile. Even Madden Mobile is kind of the staple there. And 2K tried to do the same thing, and I don't think it took on very well. So I think 2K is going to be very, very careful about if they jump into the deep end of the pool, they need to come ready, or they're going to get blown out of the water again like they were before.
Yeah, and I'm of the mindset, like, personally, like, I don't know if I want to see 2K do it. I don't know. Like, I'm just knowing, like, the way things are with how, not even just from an NBA side of things, just from a 2K and Take-Two in general with how they do their monetization. I don't know if I want that, because it's one of those things, you can only push it so much.
I will say one thing. I would love to see NBA Live back, and I would like to see an NFL 2K product, just so they're there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that actually, pushes other teams to get better. And people say competition. Again, competition doesn't always make things better. But I would love to see that, because I thought Live was not a great overall product, but it was on a good path. I would have to think that if they got the right team in there with NFL 2K, like, they could at least do something that would, come out for a year or two. Like, that's my worry, is that NFL 2K comes out and it's essentially Live for 3 years.
Yeah, it comes back and then you realize it's too much money. It's not making enough money. So
for sure.
As we wrap this up, there's a lot of people, we talk about the social media. You brought up the social media side of the community versus the real side of the community. What if and there's so many people on social media that just get it's so vitriol. It's so just attack. Give people advice if they want to actually give constructive, real feedback. Do the developers actually pay attention to this? Because there's a lot of people that don't believe it.
No, they do. There are feedback teams at EA, at 2K, at SDS, all of them, with TweetDeck open. No joke. With TweetDeck open, looking for feedback at all times. You can tag Madden NFL Direct. You can tag CFB Direct, which are the Madden and NFL like direct channels. You're more than welcome to tag them. But if it's vitriol, chances are you're not going to get seen. But if you tag them with like a video of an actual bug, and video is always king. I mean, if you can give the reproduction steps, that's always good too. Or if you have like a feature you're thinking about, the thing is, feedback very often is like screaming into a black hole. You're 99% of the time, even me, I have direct lines to a lot of these people, and it's like screaming into a black hole, because you're never going to get something changed overnight. You're never going to have changes overnight. But I can tell you right now, I've seen members of my community give feedback, not through me, and seen that in changes with title updates or even yearly change. I've seen feedback that I've given randomly and not heard back from. 2 years down the road, all of a sudden it's a feature. Like, not even a joke. I've been able to see that kind of stuff. So the thing is that be ready that you're just going to keep saying things, and it's going to sound like nobody's listening, but all of a sudden one day you're going to see the fix in the game and know that, like, you were probably a part of that.
Mills, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody, you can find him on all social media platforms at Mills Twitch, twitch.tv/Mills. He streams almost every night.
Too much. You could say it. Too much.
Every night. And honestly, one of the best storytellers in franchise and dynasty modes you'll find. If you want to watch it as a story, check him out, because it's much more than just going and watching anybody traditionally. Thank you again so much.
Thank you so much, Mike. Awesome to be here anytime.
thank you again to Mills for doing that. You can find him again, twitch.tv/Mills, on Twitter, on social media, at Mills Twitch. We talk a lot, Mills and I. While he's streaming, I'll throw in the chat. We'll DM about it. We talk off air. Just our thoughts, about just the state of the game. And we're pretty much in the same. We have some things we disagree with, but we pretty much have the same thoughts. The biggest thing that came out of everything, and it was just, there are some things with Madden. I am still enjoying Madden for the most part. I do enjoy it. I enjoy playing against people more than I do the CPU right now. And I'm hoping the first title update, which from what I'm hearing, he mentioned it before. He mentioned it before, is that usually the first week before the first start of the season, and we should be seeing it not next week, but maybe like the 9th or 10th we'd see it. I'd like to hear that we'd get some sort of update just after Labor Day next week, and then we'd get an update on when we should see it, or as far as when we'll find new information. But I do think we will get that update. I think late next week is we might get the first tweet about it from Madden NFL Direct. But there's a lot. There's some small things, like Team Builder still has quite a bit of issues on both the college football and the Madden side. It takes way too long. But editing players and things like that. There's issues with accelerated clock does not work online. It takes way too long and frame drops in between play selections when you do the fake snap. There's like a delay in between the time you fake snap it and the time you actually get to snap the ball. It gets very frustrating. I do see everybody's questions in the chat. I will answer them as I can. At the end, I will go through and catch up on questions I may have missed or might not have figured it out. Thank you to everybody who has followed. There's a bunch of you who have followed to keep up. To everybody who's donated bits, Clive Run Swiller, Mills for the gifted subs, Eraser with the Prime sub, everybody who's followed, Wallbash, thank you for the follow right there. Everybody watching on YouTube on Team Red, anybody who leaves a super chat there gets their question read on air. Just growing the show really helps every Tuesday night. Disciple Bill, are we getting a college football update Thursday? I'm not 100%. I have reached out on when we will get the next college football update. But I haven't heard of when we'll get it. I know we should be hearing about it soon, because based on that assistant athletic director at Virginia's tweet, we should be getting something soon on the college football front. So that's I think what we're all really going on. But it's been nuts with this. With this game and with Madden, and again, I'm still playing Madden. I will continue to be Madden. But it does look around August 29th for that third update. That's according to what Jones said. So we'll see. We haven't heard anything. I have reached out to see if he was accurate or not. But Justin Stevens, good evening. DJ Double B, good evening. Hello, everyone. But we're going to move on because we got more to talk about, because we have another interview coming up. But there's another thing people have been wondering about, and that's the status of the PlayStation 5 Pro. PS5 Pro, if you haven't been at Insider Gaming, insider-gaming.com, we have been reporting on it for over a year. We had boots on the ground at Gamescom, and there was a big open secret about where the PlayStation 5 Pro is, or that it's coming. The people kept talking about it being an open secret there. It's not necessarily that it was just an open secret there. It is a case of, it's been an open secret for about a year now at this point with developers of the PlayStation Pro's existence. It is console that I think people are maybe expecting it to be more powerful than what it will be, but it's going to be a more powerful PlayStation 5, and I think it's just basically going to be it's more like what the Xbox One X was and things like that. It's just going to be another way, or the PS4 Pro, a way to move more consoles as things kind of get stagnant and stall out as far as selling. That's where things stand with that. James Bond, good evening. It is Wabash. It is all about the money. Let me know. I got a message saying that my audio's doubling, so let me know if that's still the case. But that's both games don't show with Yeah, the CPU versus CPU thing. DJ Double B will. I'm looking forward to, or they are going to be updating it. I don't know if they're going to get it in time for this year, but that is something that they know people want for people who run like simulation leagues and stuff like that. That is on both sides what they want, especially in the college football side. So I know it's being worked on. I just don't know if it's something that will get in a title update this year. But back to the PS5 Pro, we know it's coming. There's a lot of talk that it will be revealed at the Tokyo Game Show in a few weeks. So we're going to hopefully see that. It's at the end of September, and then a launch of the PS5 Pro later this year around the holiday season. It's just like when the PS4 Pro it launched itself. So with that said, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to get into WWE 2K talk, because I'm going to be joined by Matt from Assemble at youtube.com/@assembleshow, and we're going to talk WWE 2K24, the overall feelings about it now that it's been about 5 months since it's launched, and the potential changes for future DLC and where we think it might be going. So if you're on Twitch, hang on out. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, hang on out. Get your questions in while we're on break. I'll be in the chat while the ad's running. Get your questions in. I will answer them more towards the end of the show. But we will be right back. Time for some WWE 2K talk, and I'm joined by the one. We're gonna fix that and get that running. Uno momento. Thank you for. I saw all that. Welcome back. You know, I love when I run a pre-tape and things don't want to work. I don't know why, because it's running on my end that you hear it, but for some reason it doesn't want to. So let's try and do this a different way. We're gonna get this rolling a completely different way. We're gonna throw the interview up on screen and go from there. So let me know if you guys hear this, if you guys see it, if there's any sort of issues on this front. So let's get this. And let's try this once. Let's try this once again. I don't know. Now you can hear. Yeah, now we can hear it. I don't know why it wasn't coming in where you couldn't hear the video. That's the problem. That you couldn't hear the video, and I don't know why you couldn't hear the video. So let's give this a shot once again and let me know if it's working. If it's working or not. So here we go. Now it's time to talk. Time for some WWE 2K talk, and I'm joined by the one, the only Matt from Assemble. You can find him online at Assemble Show, YouTube, Assemble. He's everywhere. If you know WWE 2K, no. If you know WWE 2K, you know Assemble, and you know everything you've done. Matt, thank you so much for joining me here.
No worries, Mike. It's good to finally meet you.
I know, face to face.
That's great.
It's really frustrating, and it just keeps proving I need to just stop being cheap and buy myself a new camera, because every time I talk to someone like you or another, like, a great creator, I look in the face and I see all the detail in the face, and I go,
I'm good. It's all withered and rotten. And
I know.
Torment.
The life of being a parent, you know, wrinkled in face. That's why I wear glasses.
Very painful. It's all in my eyes.
Yeah, that's why I wear glasses. It kind of covers the bags. It looks like shadows as opposed to bags.
I'm waiting for that, Mike, because I'm getting to the point where I am starting to, like, my eyes are getting wider and I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get some peepers pretty soon.
Yeah, soon it happens, and then people will go, "You look tired," and you go, "I am.
I am.
I am. That's it." You wanted to watch my kids so I could take a nap, please? So rather than get down that rabbit hole, WWE 2K24 has been out for about just almost 5 months. We're still in the DLC cycle.
Yes.
It's still popular on social media, at least. Everybody keeps talking about it and mad about it. But what have been your impressions or your thoughts this far into where 2K is for 2K24?
All right, Mike, strap in. Let's go. Let's deep dive this thing. So overall, and you know what? It's funny because I want to do like a mid-cycle review, kind of like where we are now. But I guess Cole's Notes version is, so I think the game is good. I hesitate because I'm like, it's good, but by saying good, it's like, okay, I'm gonna come at you because it's not. There's this I'm like, hang on. There's a plethora of issues with the game. It seems like at launch, I feel like there's a big drop off. for enthusiasm and engagement, and I could be way wrong, so I'm only talking from my little corner of the internet.
Yeah.
But at least from my perspective, it feels like there is a very much a drop off of enthusiasm of people going like, eh. And I think a lot of it has to do with we came out of the gate strong. I say we, but like 2K came out of the gate strong, I think, with this game because there was a lot of good with it. I feel with in terms of like, hey, we got like 4 new match types out of the thing. That was kind of like the big exciting piece for it. We got the 40 years WrestleMania for Showcase. If that interests people, then you got a showcase mode that wasn't just one superstar. So it felt like we were going to get some good pieces. People wondered about my GM. That got improvements. Universe mode, we were really, people that like universe mode were hoping for a lot. And then there's online and creation suite and so on. And then it kind of like you got past like the initial window and then issues start popping up. And it felt like every time and you would see this too, I'm sure, but like you get a patch and then it felt like 3 things broke. And then you get another patch to fix the patch. And then you get another 2 things broken. There is a very, I still enjoy the game. I still just pick up and play, but there are things that I'm like, man, I really hope next year they can fix this or change this model for certain things. Like universe mode, I think needs an overhaul or a gut.
Yeah.
Or just get rid of it and let's do a story designer, or let's just reshape what an experience mode of a season mode is for players. Because it's so old now. Like it feels like you could go back 5 years or more and you're like, it's literally like the same thing with cutscenes.
Then you have fans of Madden come in and go, we know.
Yeah. And again, nothing I'm saying is going to be like new for people. And there's probably 15 things on people's lists of what needs to be corrected, fixed, altered, changed to make a perfect wrestling game. I don't think we'd ever get there. But I think that with the patches, what I've noticed is just from people within the community, it's, hey, this is breaking all of this stuff. Or there are blocks on things if it's in the modding community. The online stability. Like right now, as we do this video, there was like I've been away for the weekend. So I'm like, oh, there's been a online update across the 2K games. So hopefully it means that they're going to do better stability with WWE 2K, but online is a huge thing for players that they're concerned about. Community creations isn't as deep. My faction is a giant focus for 2K across their games and WWE. And the DLC is very spread out, which I am not a fan of.
I'm a mixed fan with the DLC. I think what really killed everything is obviously the Pat McAfee and Friends pack. That killed a lot of excitement with how the DLC was out. Like we all knew it was coming, and then when it really came, I think a lot of people were going, there's got to be a surprise. Like maybe they'll move someone from a future DLC up one, and it's not just Pat McAfee and his friends. And that's what they got. And it just basically felt like now we're waiting on, we're still waiting to get Jade Cargill, still waiting to get Dragon Lee, still waiting.
I know. And then the big thing too there, and I agree, like I had zero excitement for that pack. I like having Pat McAfee in the game, but I think, and it's interesting to see the conversations online, because at least like on my channel for it, you get the 1 in 100 that will say, I like it. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm glad you enjoy it. I think in large part, generally speaking, I think it's an odd decision to make to include that as a paid DLC content, because if you are a casual wrestling fan or somebody that's like, I just pick up the game every year casually, like a Madden, for example, because like I'm not a hardcore Madden player, but I like getting it like every year and just playing. And if you're somebody that's more casual with the game, I'm kind of like, really? Like, why would who are these guys?
Yep.
Like, why am I paying this in my season pass on top and I'm paying a premium and I don't even know what this is? Are these wrestlers? Like, no, they're not. They are on this guy, the Raw announcer show that he does on a different thing. They're his friends. They're his, and you're like, what? Why is that in my wrestling game? Why couldn't you give me legends or more NXT stars, whatever, or just more stuff, like different content that you could do do mini stories, like mini showcases. Why did we get that?
Yeah, there's all those things. There's things with that. There are things, we did the biggest thing, we got the new model, like the version of the Hidden Blade in the move pack. So we get those things, which I don't say make up for it, but it kind of like eases the blow of what you paid for and you're getting this. But you said You brought it up a little bit off before we started, and then you talked about the spacing of the DLC. Do you think the DLC model needs a change, or do you think it does get changed in the near future?
So I don't. I mean, hey, I'm just a fan, but
Yeah.
but
This isn't a report.
yeah, from my perspective, I mean, I would look at the rest of the 2K games, and I don't follow NBA 2K closely enough to know like the ins and outs. You got to ask those people about like what's the ins and outs of their model and how it's been. But do I see it? I see it personally ending at some point. Is that going to be in 2K25? Who knows? It could be down the road. I personally think if I just look at the tea leaves and I see what we have done now for the last 3 years, 2K20, we had no 2K21. We got kind of a refresh. They took the extra time off because they had to, and COVID and everything else. But we got 22, 23, 24. Not a lot has changed. We got the introduction of my faction, which if you look from 22 to 24, has seen the changes and improvements within the mode itself. Like it or lump it, it has changed, it has evolved. We're at a point now where they're like, hey, here are persona cards, which we all know. You can go and do live events, unlock the characters. You're going to get these actual models in the game that are playable, which was the critique we all had for 2 years since the mode was announced and came out. We're like, why would I play this mode? I can't even play these characters unlocked. Then you get modders, then you get creators in the community that would pull everything for all of us. So yay, thanks everybody else, so that we can all have fun, because we're like, this is a weird decision. So now they're like, we're doing persona cards. If I had to read the tea leaves, I'd probably say that in the next year to 2 years, DLC is a thing of the past, and they were offering more my faction cards / persona models as the DLC.
They'll to force you to, and my hope is that they continue it where you can pay the VC, you can get them, do whatever, but they make everything available to be grind.
Model where here's the game that you still pay like retail price for the 3 versions to get like the extra bonuses, which could be just like we saw in the 40 years version, which got you all the extra models, the WrestleMania 40 arena. I think they continue that trend because you got to sell the three versions of the game. I just think they move away and they're like, here's the VC bonuses, and these are going to give you 3 persona models at launch of the game. Because if the leaks are true for what we've seen online even recently, there's more persona models, more persona cards coming, and that is padding out, in my opinion, the problem with the gap in DLC. I also think that they get rid of the DLC model because how many years in a row can they go with rehashing models in DLC to the point where like you've pulled everybody for the WWE contracts and Legends contracts, like they're all in the game. So how many? Someone's gonna say, yeah, well, they do this all the time. They recycle. I'm like, I understand, but it does get to a point where you're like, we've got everybody that's under a WWE contract, a Legends contract, is utilized in the video game. Can you really recycle that again for players, or do you go do NXT stars and that could be a DLC pack? But what we've seen, even Mike, like right now, and 2K has posted these, is like they have now released John Cena models as persona cards. And
yeah, and you get Big Papa Pump. Like that was one that a lot of people were really mad about last year with the Steiners. It's like, how do you not have Big Papa Pump? And then this year they have the Big Papa Pump persona card, and everybody's like, good, because it's not like they didn't have his entrance animation in the game last year, so you can just change it. And
but now they have like the John Cena prototype version, but it was in the base game last year. Now it's being sold as a persona card, and I say sold because it's like technically I can grind out for free and I could get the card and unlock it, and I can get it for free. I can. It's a lot of work. It's not reasonable, but it's possible. I see that, Mike, being the model they go down and I think we're seeing hints of this now with, hey, let's take models and superstars that we had in the previous year's games, like 22 and 23, and those extra models like an Undertaker, a John Cena, and so on. Well, we can't make those DLC again. We got to make more revenue. So an easy way is let's just transfer it over to persona cards, and the models are sitting there. They're in an inventory, right? So let's just put them in that mode. People can download them, and now they still get them in the base game. They're happy. The issue with the persona cards is, amongst many things, one of them is that it's all locked. So like, I get that John Cena, that's awesome, but I can't change his outfit, his Tron, his music, nothing. It's completely locked, which upsets a lot of people.
What has been in your community that you've seen? What has been the biggest I guess, I don't want to say the biggest issue or problem that they want to see changed, updated, fixed for this franchise?
Universe mode, probably. It's the most I hear the most noise about. If I say what was the loudest thing, people would say that they want with the game. It's not very much like, oh, I wish gameplay would change. A lot of people want like, oh, I wish they would go back to 2K19 gameplay style. I think that for the game itself, a lot of players, at least what I hear, is I want universe mode to work. I want it to be fresh and new and exciting and bring me in for the whole year.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how I used to play too. I love playing universe mode, setting it up, tinkering with it, and now I'm like, it just feels like the same thing that I've been doing for years. I need a new take on it. So I think people are, a lot of them anyways, are looking for universe mode. But again, the next person will say, I need a creation suite that is far more in depth and gives me the tools that I need. Or they'll say that they need more match types. Like everyone's got an opinion on it. So I just think that for at least what I hear, universe mode has been a core staple of the franchise for so long, but it's getting stale and people want to see a refresh.
For me, I just keep this thought in my head that we're going to get to a point where universe mode and GM are combined in some way.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have worked, like, had you just, like, I love my GM. That is the mode when I play the game. That's the mode I pretty much primarily play. Even though it does get repetitive, I still, like, it hooks me. I always, it has that perfect one more show type of mentality. It's like, no, I don't like how that show went. I'm going to make up for it. I'm going to do a better show. And then next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. and I have to get up at 7.
But Mike, you've seen it though. Like I totally agree with you because I play more my GM than anything. You can kind of see it knowing that you've played the mode a ton, that you're like, well, if it just gave me the full calendar year and the matches, you're really close to universe mode. Like I know it misses the customization options, but if you kind of had to yank universe out of the system and you put all the resources into my GM, it's not far off. Now people will say, like, I don't want my GM, I want universe. I'm like, we all want different things.
See, I'm type, just make it, combine it. I'm okay with the combination, but have enough options to where I can turn. If I don't want, power cards, turn it off. If I don't want fan ratings or tracking, turn it off. Like, let me, again, it all comes down to, I think ultimately that's what we get. Maybe not next year, but if they do continue this partnership, which, I mean, they're making so much more money now, you got to think that WWE 2K is not going anywhere. Anytime soon.
It's so successful for them, and WWE, for all intents and purposes, are happy. The game is successful. It's a financial success. It works. So I don't see the license ever getting dropped for a very long time.
So I asked about your community. What do you hope the future hosts, as we start to wind down here, hope to see with the future of this franchise?
More depth. Customization is a big word, but I think it's what so many players want. They want freedom in their wrestling game, and they want it to be a wrestling game that just speaks to them. That's not, trying out new things that people didn't ask for. They're looking for those core modes. They want all the match types that they used to play back in the day, and we're getting there. Like, to be honest, like, they brought a lot of cool stuff back. We got special ref, casket matches, ambulance matches, like gauntlet match. I love, like, it's all there. There's still always going to be stuff we all want. Like, there's still, but I think a lot of people are looking for just consistently updated, even throughout the year as well. That's something that I wish the team would do. I think maybe it has to do with resources, and they're on like an 8-month timeline, right? With like, okay, the game gets refreshed. I understand it, but for the players, it's like, what do we want? Well, we want to be heard. We want more communication from the team and from the franchise that we're all invested in, because we want it to be successful, because it's the WWE video game. But we want more communication and more of the game feeling like, okay, they heard us as a community. We wanted these things. Hey, we're getting them. But I feel like their hands are tied on the dev side, because, in my opinion, I'm like, they're on an 8-month window. They got to flip this thing around. How can you reinvent the wheel? You can't. You just can't. So it's having an understanding too of like this balance. But I do wish that they would focus on core modes, scrap fluff and just try to nail the best experience they can.
I think the only thing I really want, well, not the only thing, one of the things I really want, I admittedly like the control scheme. It took me a little bit to get the hang of it, making it feel like it's a fighting game. I would like to see them, and this is mainly for my kid. He's about to be 7, but he cannot grasp the combos and stuff just yet. So I'd really like a simplified
or just
option.
Have
both.
Control, have both. Go back to old. Go to 2019 or 2K19 and give us the modern version. Yeah. I agree, because I'm like, I don't like combos. I don't like the fighting stances and doing this all the time. And then I'm doing combo. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'll play a wrestling game.
So last question. It's not 2K related, but it is wrestling game related. You've obviously seen the latest tech demo for the wrestling code.
Yeah.
What do you I can't talk enough about that game. I like, to the point where I think I'm biased towards how much I'm excited about what this game is going to be. What do you think of what you've seen? Granted, it's very small. All we're getting is tech demos.
I'm very impressed by it because of, from what I've heard, it's like a team of 10 or so that are working.
And all it is, it's a self-funded passion project.
So then, like, for that, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And like, personally, for the tech demo, I loved it. I mean, you got Chris Danger in there.
I don't like him giving all his finishers to like some of my favorite wrestlers. Seeing him doing things to DDP and Kurt Angle, like, come on.
The bottles look good. I thought the arena and the crowd looked good. And again, it's a tech demo. It's an alpha tech demo, and I liked what I saw. Do I wish it was like better and more in depth? Absolutely, of course. You want everything. I want to see menus. I want to see match time. I want to see like a whole match. But for what they showed off, for being such a small team, I think it's exciting, because you know what? I just like more options. That's like, I made a video reviewing the tech demo, and at the end of it, all I said was, the great part is you can live in a time where, once again, there could be options for games. We have no idea when this game could come out. It might be in the shelf in development for 3 more years because it's a small team. But when we could have potentially Ultra Pro Wrestling, the Wrestling Code, WWE 2K, AEW Fight Forever 2, maybe at some point in our lifetime, but like, you could have multiple wrestling games, and that's what we grew up with too, was having multiple games to play. So it's the Wrestling Code. I thought it was great. I thought that the moves, pulling them off, it looked a little bit like it was slowed down.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah, maybe. And I was like, maybe if they could,
I might be wrong, but yeah, I agree.
It would looked a little slow that they were doing from move to move. And then when I looked back at it again, I thought that, like, again, it's a tech demo, but I'm like, okay, the crowd, I love the crowd and all that, because it made it look big and feel big, but we needed, like, I liked all the camera options, but there's something about the stage being so grand, and then even the camera in the ring, I liked it because it was a different kind of angle and moved around, but it felt like, is the ring really big, or is it just the camera and the positioning of it? I don't know. So there's just stuff, but I'm like, it's an alpha tech demo, and I was happy that, they've got a huge amount of legends on there, and it looks like fun.
That roster, that's the best part about wrestling. It's not like Madden or NBA, where it's like, we want an alternative to play as the same team. No, we just want another fun wrestling game that you can create who you want. Like, you have AEW, you have Ultra Pro Wrestling coming, a different style. Maybe one day we get another Fire Pro. Who the hell knows? I would love another Fire Pro. And then you have the Wrestling Code, and then you even have Wrestling Empire, if you want that over-the-top, arcade. You want a sandbox, there you go. There's your game. You can pick a wrestler and die within one day, because that's happened.
Okay, that's wild.
It was great. I picked a guy, I did one booking, and then I came up with a news thing and said, Mike, I passed away. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that's a little harsh. That's a little extreme there.
I'm like, all right, I guess I'm starting over. Thanks, M. Dickey. But Matt, I want to thank you so much for joining me here. You can find him on YouTube at Assemble Show. Find him online. He's not active on Twitter much, but you can find him on Instagram. But check out YouTube every day. I strongly suggest subscribing. Again, thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Mike.
That was Matt of Assemble. Again, youtube.com/@assemble. To piggyback on the discussion before we get into Nintendo Direct and ask your questions as we wrap up today's show. The DLC conversation was was interesting because the way they are doing it, it does make sense with the Persona cards. Real Elite, you brought up All Elite Wrestling AW Fight Forever 2. They do want to do a second game. It's just I don't think it's going to be with Ukes again. Unless something changes, I do not think the game's going to be with Ukes. I think it's going to be with somebody else. That's where I'm at with that. But get your questions, guys. Well, I saw a bunch of questions that I want to get to, but I want to talk about Nintendo Direct, and then we'll go through all of the questions. So if you're putting your questions, I see them. Just know that we'll talk to them. If you want to guarantee, I'm going to try and get to all of them because there were a bunch. This was a heavily watched show. Thank you to everybody who followed, all the subscriptions, the bits, the super chats, everything. It means more than I can tell you. But we will get into as many questions as I can. But right now we're going to move on to Nintendo Direct. And this one is short. Nintendo had their Nintendo Direct today and their Indie World Showcase. They moved it up from what many expected to be in September. And it's a case of it was very underwhelming. It is definitely a console on its last legs. A bunch of games. If you're a fan of JRPGs and these dating simulators and whatever visual novel type of games, you're still good. But it was a very disappointing. Like, the biggest thing to come out of it was a Balatro update, a cosmetic update to cards for Balatro. There's a demo out for Epic Mickey Rebrushed that I'll probably check out. New updates coming to Disney Dreamlight Valley. Tetris Forever is coming. Basically, you'll get and then they announced the NES version of Tetris is going to be to Nintendo Switch Online. That was the biggest one to me. Tetris Goat Simulator is available today on Nintendo Switch, physical version coming later. And then they announced the SpongeBob SquarePants Patrick Star game, which is you know what? We're going to throw the Patrick Star trailer up quick. Let's throw this Patrick Star trailer up on the screen. Why don't we do that?
What a beautiful day in Bikini Bottom. No storms or other natural disasters in sight. There's nothing and no one its happy citizens should worry about.
Good morning!
Well, maybe there is someone.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, let's go! Excuse me, coming through!
Wow! Awesome job!
Sorry, can't stop! Whoa!
Go catch those rings!
Oh, come on! Better out than in.
Smashing, young man!
Nifty! What are you doing, lad? Yay! Oh, for me? This is Patrick. My leg!
So that's Patrick Star show, or the Patrick Star game. Very can tell, like, we got some big games coming, like a new Zelda game coming and stuff like that, but we're very clearly at a end of the life of... It's coming to other consoles, real. We're definitely at the end of the life cycle of the Nintendo Direct. Was not. The biggest thing is what wasn't there, and we still don't have anything on Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong. I am now firmly believing that that game does not exist. It's been so long since we've heard anything from an official capacity that it's tough to believe that it's real at this point. It is tough to believe that it's real. So with that said, let's move on to answering, I don't know why I said it like that, your questions. really, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, they cut ties. The IOC cut ties, and they're moving into like mobile games for it, or NFTs, and they're doing that type of stuff. James Bond, you asked about disputed upcoming boxers. I reached out and I was given a PR response of that there'll be more announcements about the game coming soon, and that they're very excited to talk about it. So that's what I was given on that front. What else do we have for questions? Within the next 3 years, do you see EA or 2K getting into new sports or bringing back old franchises? Yes. I still think 2K gets into FIFA. I think they get back into FIFA. Like, that's still in talks. There's nothing finalized, otherwise it would have been announced. But they still think they're going to announce something later this year that it's close enough. But we don't have that just yet. But I do think that EA, they're working on a fight night. I think they're waiting to see how Undisputed performs and what happens with that. There was a lot of talk a few years back of EA bringing back, in a sense, the EA Big line of games, like lineup with those types of games. And there was a lot of talk of street game type things coming back, or utilizing the team at Metalhead Studios, the studio that the EA purchased behind Super Mega Baseball, utilizing them for other sports in that. But I don't know where that stands, or if it ever got further than the talks and the discussions for it. What's the state of the UFC? There's going to be another EA UFC game. I believe it won't come probably for another year or two, but I do believe, Raiders, there's going to be another EA UFC game. Yeah, they've been kind of, I agree, they've been kind of lackluster. Like, I enjoy them for the first month, and then I'm bored. There's nothing really to keep me into it, What else do we have? Do I have any information on the new Monster Jam Showdown game? I got nothing. I'm hoping I get my copy of it, but I haven't really been looking into it. The last Monster Jam game I got, it just felt so empty. It felt so empty. But I'm hoping this is a game that my son can really get into. I do hope that that's the case. What other do we... Justin, your Virginia Tech thing. I was on the same page. Justin, with that. Thank you, everyone, as we start winding it down. Thank you, everyone, for the follows. Again, Mills, thank you for the gifted subs. If you missed either the interviews and talks with Mills or with Matt of Assemble, I will post those on YouTube as standalone interviews. They will be up youtube.com/@MikeStrawMedia. Like I said, if you look up Mike Straw Media on any social media platform, you're going to find me. But the interviews will be up on demand there shortly after this show goes off the air. UFC needs to stop rotating their items in the shop weekly and continuously add new ones. See, I'm not even... The UFC shop stuff in the game, I'm just not... I don't care enough for that type of stuff. So it's never one of those things of like... And I get some people get interested if you're interested, but they do need... I do think if you're looking at it, they need to make things more appealing to get people convinced to buy it. Because right now there's not a lot of convincing. Do I think that pay-to-win killed sports games? So I don't want to say killed sports games, because sports games have never been more thriving. It killed... There's things that killed competition. But I don't want to say they killed sports games. Because sports games, the sports games, what was it? 7 of the top 20 games of the year are sports games right now. EA Sports College Football was the top 1 and 2, the top 2 games for July. Best-selling game of the year is college football. So sports games aren't dying, but they are targeting a very specific niche market, and it's working for them. Do I like it? No, but I get why they're doing it. It's one of those things of don't like it, but I get it. What makes EA more money? NHL does, because of Ultimate Team. NHL makes more money because of Ultimate Team and the World of Chell. UFC tried the Ultimate Team thing. It bombed massively, so they took it out. The Wukong Raiders, that is incredible to me. And then, you know what? Yeah, James. So what James, I'll get to you in a second, actually. The Wukong, I thought it was going to break the Battlegrounds, the PUBG record. It came close, about 800,000 shy of the PUBG concurrent users on Steam. I thought it was close. But 2.4 million users concurrently for a single-player game like that, that's incredible. It was a great. And the thing is, it hasn't even released on Xbox yet. So we'll see what happens eventually if it gets there with their memory leak issues, because the Series S is causing problems. James, yeah, so I reached out, and they gave me the PR speak of they have more announcements to come in the future that they're really excited to talk about. That's all I got from them on there. But I'm hoping to sit down with them once again just before launch to talk about the updates and where things stand and just the excitement and sit down for a recording to bring on this show. Speaking of games that bomb, we're going to wrap this up. Concord, we knew it was going to be bad, and everybody's beating this dead horse, but I have to bring it up. 8 years for a hero shooter to come out when the time hero shooters are... No one really cares for them. You have Overwatch. The hero shooter... Like, Deadlock seems like it might do okay based on the closed alpha numbers of nearly 90,000 active players. Marvel Rivals is going to succeed because people love Marvel. So... But Concord, right now, as we're talking, 210 players. They peaked at 697 on launch day and have gone down every day for a max peak since. Like, we're looking at a max peak for the 24 hours of just over 200 players. This is a games as a service game. A live service game, 4v4. They butchered that. And it all started with that awful trailer, the great trailer, and then they come back out of that cinematic to say it's a 5v5 hero shooter, or a 4v4, whatever it is, a hero shooter. It's just not coming right. Do I know if Undisputed when it comes to managing your corner, is it all computer AI? I think it's all going to be computer-related, AI-related for the corner stuff. I haven't seen anything about updates or anything like that to how corners work in between rounds. Take a look at Take-Two's lineup next year, every game. 100%. Civ 7 will kill. Borderlands 4 will kill. 2K26 will kill. 2K25 will kill. Mafia. The only game that I think may not come out next year is GTA, but I still, of those three is GTA, but I'm still of the belief that everything is going status quo with GTA 6 and that it'll still be out holiday of next year. I'm still enjoying it, Disciple. The honeymoon phase definitely wore off for a lot of people. Especially now that Madden's out. The honeymoon phase is definitely worn out for a lot of people, but not with me. Because when I get games like this, I don't play them because, one, I can't. So much into the ground that then I get tired of it. You know what I mean? I play it just enough to keep me wanting to keep playing. Like, after this show ends, I'm probably going to play some Madden after we wrap up here. I don't know if I'll stream it. I might come back and stream Madden after the fact, maybe. I don't know. But I don't play the games into the ground and whatnot to where I'm going to get bored with it. So I'm still enjoying it. I don't touch my Superstar mode, though, because I have Madden on my PC, so I'm not even going to be carrying over my Road to Glory player to Madden. Because I have Madden on my PC because I want to to tackle some mods when they're available for that and see what that does to the game, because I haven't modded Madden in a while. Anything about Black Ops 6? COD Next is tomorrow morning. COD Next is tomorrow, and we're gonna get a deep dive in multiplayer. I got into the benefit of being media. I got into the multiplayer beta, the early access beta. I'm gonna dive into it on the 30th, and we're gonna play it a lot this weekend. And you will have my full thoughts next week when we talk. I will have my full thoughts on what I think about Black Ops 6 next week's show. There is a tease for you. I will have my thoughts. And if I can get permission to stream it, if they allow us to stream, I will. But I don't know if you can or not. They haven't sent the information on what you can do with the beta. But I'll have my full thoughts on the multiplayer next week on the show. Read today that they're adding shams. Yeah, I made a joke on Twitter. I was like, yeah, and for only $19.99 a report, he'll give you insight onto what your opposing GMs are doing in your My GM mode in My NBA. Do I think college football will come to PC after this year? I know they wanted to try to get it this year, but the market for PC gaming isn't what people think it is. But I do think the plan is to have college football there. It is something they've talked about. It was something that was right on there going in from the start. So I do think ultimately that's going. I think if I was to put money on it now, I'd put money on college football being on PC within the next 2 years. And yes, it blew out their expectations, Disciple. I had heard, and I'd reported at Insider Gaming, insider-gaming.com, all your gaming news that you need, exclusives, insight, rumors, everything you'd want to know. It should be your one-stop shop because I'm there and I'm the senior editor. Well, one of the senior editors, Grant Hill. Grant is the other one. But they viewed college football as being a success if it had mid $100 million in revenue. They broke that within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, it was over $500 million in revenue, and we're looking at a game that very well could cross $1 billion in revenue when it's all said and done. It's already sold triple the amount and made triple the amount of revenue than the prior best-selling game in EA Sports college football's history, NCAA 07. Prior to that, they've tripled the lifetime revenue generated by NCAA 07, and they did it in the launch month. They blew that up. They absolutely blew that up, and that was incredible. That was incredible to see. So they know they got a money pit, like we talked about in the interview. They know what they got, and we're gonna get a yearly franchise out of it. They haven't confirmed it, but there's no way they don't. There's no way they do what they do this year and not go, let's improve the game and let's try and do it again. I don't think it's gonna sell as well. Ultimately, I don't think the next college football game, 26, 27, will sell as well as 25 because we had 11 years in between releases. But I do still think they're gonna make a ton of money on it. An absolute ton of money. What else do we have here as we wrap up? There'll be pushback. I think every game, and that's the one thing, Justin, that I think happens is every year there's going to be renegotiations on how much they play a player per game. They gave them $600 if you were chosen for the game when you submitted. If you were one of the 50-something on the roster, or 85 on the roster, you got $600 and a copy of the game. I do expect that to go up in a big way. What will the next game do? The next game should just not add anything new. I don't think they need to add anything new. I don't think they need to add anything. The next game should just build upon what's there. You know what I mean? It should just build upon what we had. Metal Gear Delta, dude, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's not my favorite Metal Gear game, but everything looks so and sounds so good that I can't wait. It's tough. The NFL license raters, I mean, they're negotiating about it. It's up in 2026 after the option year. So usually by now, within 2 years, we've had an announcement, but they're still talking. And they'll make an announcement if it comes, if and when that comes. What's my NFL team of choice? It's a close call. I do love the Cincinnati Bengals. I am in Buffalo. I am from Buffalo, born and raised. And the Buffalo Bills I will always root for and support and love. I have my, but the Cincinnati Bengals are just something to me. Let's put it this way. When they face each other, chances are I root for the Bengals. More often than not. 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10. I've rooted for the Bengals when the Bills and Bengals have faced off. But Buffalo being my hometown, where I love my city, I will root for them as long as they're not facing the Bengals. But now I'm like, which team can beat the Chiefs? In the playoffs, it's been the Bengals, 2-1. So. And then, but my sport is, my team that wins championships are right there, the Buffalo Bandits of the National Lacrosse League. That's my team. That's my team of choice. That is my number one. Back-to-back champions, baby. Okay. You bet the Bills to win the... It's because they have no defense this year. And they have no receivers, Justin. That's the big thing. Like, that's a good bet to make because they've won it 4 years in a row. And until Miami can prove they can win against good teams and in key games late in the season, you can't too. And who knows what Aaron Rodgers is going to be. So, I mean, for that value at 180, it's a good deal. It's a good deal. But on that note, everyone, we are going to wrap it up here. I might be back shortly streaming some Madden. I don't know. I'm very tired. But thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to all of the new followers. Thank you to everybody who hung out and chatted. Thank you to Mills. Thank you to Matt. Follow at Mills Twitch, at Assemble Show. Next week, we'll be talking Black Ops 6 and probably a lot more. The benefit of having a week, and I'm working on scheduling another interview. Until next time, take care of one another. Be kind to one another.
Get up at 7.
I love all of you.
But Mike,
I'm out.
like I totally agree with you because I play more my GM than
Next time, take care of one another. Be kind to one another.